The Texas House has approved redistricting, so it proves that all of that hubbub from the Democrats was absolutely pointless for no reason at all. Bed Bath & Beyond is going to be back, but they're not coming back to California, so we'll talk about that. Cracker Barrel has decided that they're going to do a whole bunch of redecorating, and the internet has said, thanks, I hate it. And the DHS has decided that they're going to redecorate the border wall so that way it's hot to the touch. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and get into all that. So if you will head on, but before that, head on over to castbrew.com and buy some coffee. You've got Josie's signature blend now. We've got 2 weeks till Christmas. We've got Ian's Graphene Dream. We've also got the K-Cups, so if you're a little on the lazy side like myself, you can go ahead and just toss those in. It makes it much easier. But head on over to castbrew.com. It is the best coffee out there, I promise. I actually do drink it in the morning. That's my preferred brand. It's good. And then head on over to timcast.com and become a member, so that way you can join our Discord and you can join us for the after show where you can call in and you can talk to our guest, you can talk to us, you have questions, ask the panel and stuff. Then head on over to rumble.com, become a member there so you can watch the after show. That's where the things get a little spicy. We get into topics that maybe we aren't supposed to talk about, or you don't think that you're supposed to talk about, or YouTube won't let us talk about. So are you signaling at me, Serge? Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So yeah, head on over to rumble.com and join there. But to talk about all these things, joining us tonight is...
Hi, everybody. Theresa Payton. Nice to be here.
Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Theresa Payton. I'm CEO of Fortalus Solutions. I was the Chief Information Officer for President George W. Bush, 2006 to 2008. First female to hold that job. But before that, I worked in financial services for 16 years, and now I help companies and individuals with security.
You have a book that you're...
I do have a book. Yes. I've got a paperback, second edition, Manipulated Inside the Cyber War to Hijack Elections and Distort the Truth. It is not really just about elections. It's all of the manipulation campaigns that happen around the world globally, including in the United States, that impact us on social issues, how we talk to each other, how we treat each other, and by the way, also elections. Deepfakes, AI play a role in that as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
for
Raymond
having
is
me.
here.
What's up, friends? It's your boy, Raymond G. Stanley Jr. Excited to meet you, Miss Theresa.
Nice to meet you.
Friends, if you look behind Brett, I'll introduce him today. And Phil, it's dark outside, and we have some blue lights, we have some red lights. So today I got to spend the day up in the air in the boom lift, hooking up for the skate jam session on August 30th that we're going to have. So we got red, white, and blue. You know how Timcast rolls. We're America.
There you go.
I see a purple light back there as well.
It does look a little purple.
The colors might have been changed on one.
I think Tim might have said go pink for a second there.
For one of them. Okay, guys, my name is Brett. I am normally the host of Pop Culture Crisis Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk politics.
All right. So we're going to jump right into this from Axios. The Texas House approves redistricting map favoring Republicans. The Texas House gave initial approval to a new congressional map Wednesday that will likely give Republicans 5 more seats in a closely divided U.S. House. The redistricting would go a long way to ensuring the U.S. House remains in Republican control, even as it sets in motion a wave of gerrymandering in other states. Heavily outnumbered, Texas Democrats briefly held up the redistricting plan as they left for other states, depriving the chamber of a quorum necessary for a vote. But they returned Monday for a new special session, saying they would now challenge the redistricting in the courts. The 38-member Texas congressional delegation is currently composed of 12 Democrats and 25 Republicans. One seat is vacant following the death earlier this year of Democrat Rep. Sylvester Turner of Houston. Under the new map, prompted by a demand from President Trump, Texas would likely send 30 Republicans and 8 Democrats to Washington. You want transparency? The underlying goal of this redistricting is to improve Republican political performance, bill author State Rep. Todd Hunter, Republican from Corpus Christi, said on Wednesday. The proposal amounts to an illegal and racially discriminatory map that surgically strips away minority representation in the U.S. Congress, said Rep. Chris Turner from Grand Prairie. This is Texas, not Washington, D.C. The impulse of outside politicians and their billionaire backers shouldn't dictate what we do in the House. It is not the way that the Democrats are actually framing it. If I understand correctly, 2 of the 5 new seats would actually be majority black. or I'm sorry, 2 of the 5 new districts would be majority black. So this has nothing to do with race, but it does have to do with the fact that there has been such a massive demographic shift and population shift, people leaving California, moving to Texas, and all of the illegal immigration. Considering the census doesn't count citizens, it counts people, it counts bodies. It's something that actually has precedent. There have been times where there have been, censuses that were not just every 10 years, and redistricting is something that I think is important. Do you have a sense as to what this actually is going to mean for Republicans or Democrats in D.C.?
I think it's going to be interesting to see. As somebody who lived in Florida through a redistricting and North Carolina through a redistricting, it is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. The one thing I always say about redistricting is be careful, because one man or woman's favorite redistricting, the next party, if they become in charge, they can change it back. So just make sure it's something that will stand the test of time. But it will be interesting to see how it plays out.
This is something that we've been talking about for a couple days, because this has kind of been what's leading the news. Nick Sorter had some stuff to say about it on Twitter. We're going to go to this real quick.
Breaking tonight, Texas Republican legislators have just won their fight over redistricting. Just moments ago, the state House vote is now final. The bill aims to provide 5 additional congressional seats for the GOP. Correspondent Garrett Tenney shows us what's happening from Austin, Texas tonight. Good evening, Garrett.
No, that was very short. Yep. But yeah. So 5 seats is really going to be a big deal. And I think if the Democrats are going to escalate, which is what they've kind of indicated that they're going to do, you'll see some redistricting in I think it was California, Illinois. But again, this is something we talked about a couple times. There's not a whole lot more the Democrats can do, whereas the Republicans actually have a lot of room to squeeze more seats out of multiple states.
Well, yeah, that's because, as we've talked about endlessly on this show, at least in the times I've been on, is that Republicans historically in the past have been very weak on actually making inroads and progress. They tend to be playing defense all the time. And now, for the first time, at least it feels like in my living memory, that they're actually going on the offensive. And the Democrats can't really do that because they've been on the offensive for so long that they've pushed that can as far down the road as they can.
And so things are happening. Yeah. It's not that nothing ever happens. It's
nothing ever changes. It's nothing ever changes. It's not nothing ever happens. It's that nothing ever changes.
And I'm excited to see, God bless America, if Jasmine Crockett loses her seat. That would be fantastic and amazing. She said, or I was just looking at it, that it's racist and it's anti-demographic, warning that they're going to drastically reduce minority voting power. Whereas, like Phil said, they're going to get at least 2, possibly 2, with minority voting power.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of Representative Crockett,
speaking of the devil,
as many of you as possible to flood our state. Like when it's election time, I want them to be so mad that they did all of this, because we have people coming from the entire country to Texas to make sure that this little scheme that they tried to pull, where they were just going to steal and diminish the voices of Black and brown people, I want us to be so loud that they actually go running and trying to figure out what's that little racist town they all hiding in, and some, what is it, Missouri, Arkansas. I think they all ran to Arkansas. That's where they need to run off to. That's how I want them to feel after this election. So no matter what happens, I need y'all to stay in this fight, because literally the war is just starting. It is.
What the hell is she talking about?
I have no idea.
that is a very good question.
I didn't understand any of that other than she
I was
wants
assuming
a lot
you
of
did, and it just didn't make any sense.
I mean,
to me.
I wondered if she asked ChatGPT what was going on, and maybe that was the answer it gave. I mean, yeah.
So
I don't know.
What is the precedent? So it's not just her saying that it's racist. It was the Democrat from the article referenced it and called it racist. Is there like some type of precedent for why they're saying that? Even if it's
Do they
not
have a
true?
research study, maybe?
Okay.
No.
I think that it's probably just kind of boilerplate Democrat complaining about whatever the policy is. That's just the go-to line that they've had for the better part of at least a decade, possibly 15 years. They just call everything racist. That has worked to frighten people and say, "Whoa," because people don't want to consider them, think of themselves as a bad person, and generally racism is thought of as a bad thing. So, you tell a white person, they're like, oh, you're racist. They're going to be like, oh, what did I do that was racist? Especially if you're talking about someone that's a Democrat. Republicans have kind of got a thicker skin now because they've been hearing it for so long, and they've gotten to the point where they're just like, I know I'm not, so I don't care what you say. I know this is only a rhetorical tool. This is only you trying to attack me to shut me up. So I don't worry about those kind of accusations, but there's still people that it actually works for.
Yeah, but that's like when you're having an argument with somebody about social issues. We're talking about political redistricting. It's as boring as it could possibly get. And that's like, that seems so outside of the construct of what they're discussing that it doesn't even seem relevant. Like, that makes more sense if they're talking about the actual racial demographics of their politicians, saying you didn't vote for this person, therefore you're racist. We know that's still BS as well, but that seems more logical than whatever it is that they're trying to. It feels very square peg round hole, but if anybody's going to tell you to be loud and obnoxious, it would be Jasmine Crockett.
That was on Andrew Yang. Remember, he tried to move to, Georgia, when Georgia was having their special elections back in 2022, something like that. He was trying to move down there, tell people to move down there, move with residence for 3 months so he can vote into that election. And Jasmine, nobody cares about you. No one's going to move from Missouri to Texas. No one's going to move from Maine to Texas.
A huge ass.
Just to save your ass. Nobody gives a F. I'm sorry, miss.
I mean, especially if you have a job that requires you to come into the office.
You think everybody works remote?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
Good point.
This post from Muse says that Jasmine Crockett was calling for white people to leave Texas, suggesting they move to Arkansas.
That's white flight. You're not supposed to do that either.
And they're building a town of the white people. Is that what and they're mad about that? And now she wants them to go join this other white community?
Well, I mean, that kind of speaks to my point about using racism as a rhetorical tool, or using the accusation of racism as a wedge to get people to respond, because white people have been like, I don't want to be thought of as racist.
Again, that works when you're talking about regular social issues. If we're talking about this, nobody's moving just to...
Yeah, but I do think that the accusation of racism is less compelling nowadays.
Yes.
Just like when you hear Nazi about Donald Trump 35,000 times in a month or whatever, like people start to think, okay, wait a minute, maybe they're just saying the most terrible thing they can think of. And this actually is something that comes from like kind of the postmodern philosophy. They don't actually believe postmodernists don't actually believe that there is a truth. They believe that it's all perspective, and they don't believe that words actually have any more meaning than we give them. So because words have the meaning that we give them, words don't actually have any meaning. So they can use words that function to get a reaction or to produce a result, as opposed to using words that mean something. And it's generally has worked, but people on the right are kind of onto that kind of rhetoric and are just sick and tired of it. You point to your book. If you got something that you can add to that, please.
Well, no, I mean, as far as manipulation campaigns, and that's what people have to realize is we all consciously or subconsciously have manipulation campaigns. And so on the one hand, it may be something good where, I don't know, I'm looking for light blue pumps, and the internet, now that I talked about it in front of all of you, the internet's going to send me marketing campaigns, manipulation campaigns to show me the blue pumps I couldn't find, and now I have to buy. So on the one hand, there's marketing, but then it can also be things like the rhetoric and the language that people use that can be very divisive. And it's happening on the internet. It's happening in sort of the language choices we use, and we have to be very mindful of it and not do it ourselves, but also be able to help other people spot and stop when these manipulation campaigns are happening.
So now, like, you're going to turn on your computer, it's going to be ads like, move to sunny Texas.
I thought it was Arkansas.
Well, I thought, was she talking about...
She wants people to move to Arkansas.
But
If you're white,
so you got to move out of state, miss.
So,
Sorry about that.
is that something that you actually get into in your book?
Not about the kind of that part of the politics, but the fact that you can see where a social media campaign using certain hashtags, using certain language can manipulate people into thinking, okay, this is what's actually happening. And they don't have the time to dig deeper. And it ends up starting. And the internet gives you more of what you came for, especially with algorithms today on social media platforms and AI. And so if you ask or you linger, the internet's going to keep giving you more and more of what you came for.
This just shows also, like, they did it again. They did it before, like it was 2022 or something like that. They all, like 50 some left the state, Democrats, and they did it again this year. And both times they came back and they didn't win anything, nothing. They gained nothing. So hopefully folks will realize that it's all just performative. It's all just fake.
I have a question for you. What's the best way to like if we're talking purely on social media platforms, what is the best way to like reset your algorithm if it's going off the rails?
I mean, look at rolling pandas. I mean, so if you think about rolling
pandas,
how can you have a bad day when you see pandas rolling down a hill? And so if you want to, I mean, whenever I feel like my algorithm needs a reset, I'll look at like funny animal videos or rolling pandas, or maybe I'll look at something. I love Pope Leo, so I'll look at something that Pope Leo recently said, and it just resets your algorithm.
Because like X is particularly pernicious, and like last week we covered the stupid story about the Mormon dating show.
Oh yeah,
and I did myself the disservice of bookmarking like 2 people talking about it, and then I closed X, I opened it back up, and it took 9 posts before I saw something that wasn't quote tweeting that single thing.
Wow.
So I had to unbookmark. I had to go and send it to myself through Slack, and so that it wouldn't be bookmarked on my page, because it completely destroyed my feed.
It does that, and that's the thing. What they want is for you to spend more time. So the more eyeballs they have, the more money they make. And it's one of the things I found in doing the research for the book was, I thought a lot of times manipulation campaigns, as they related to political elections around the world, was about trying to pick winners and losers. But what I realized in the research for my book is people actually make loads of money in the process. So Meta makes loads of money. And then I came across through HackerX, there was a Macedonian group, and HackerX asked them, why are you guys pro-Bernie, pro-Trump, and anti-Hillary? And this was back in sort of that time frame when all 3 of them were running. And they said, oh, we're not. That's the combo that makes us the most money. So you click on their news, you click on the ads, you spend time there, and they figured out when they were pro-Hillary, they didn't make as much money. But when they were pro-Bernie, pro-Trump, anti-Hillary, that for them, capitalism-wise, they just said, we're pro-capitalism, these Macedonians.
Bernie would hate that.
He would.
I don't know. He's come to love capitalism. He's been shilling those whole time.
He'll maybe he loves it for himself, but
that's
right.
He doesn't talk.
He wrote a
doesn't
book,
talk
bro.
the
He's
talk,
got like
so.
3 houses.
Cronyism. He's not even the private sector.
Yeah. So I mean, look, at the end of the day, whether you're talking about this kind of manipulation or whatever, or you're talking about redistricting, the goal is to get as much political power as you can. And I think that the Democrats have made it pretty clear, even though they'll swear up and down that this is some kind of, I guess, nefarious attempt by the Republicans. This is something that's pretty mundane, to be honest with you. Now, granted, like I said, it is odd that they're doing a redistricting and they want to do it halfway through the census time. Normally it's every 10 years that they'll do a census and then they'll redistrict. But it's not unprecedented. It's happened before. They could do a whole nother census, and that might even change more of the congressional representation. It's likely to change more of the congressional representation. So I just want to know, what do you guys think is going to be the overall outcome of this? The attempts at redistricting, do you think it's going to turn into a big old fight between Republicans and Democrats? Do you think California's going to go and then the Republicans are going to actually have to go? Or do you think that it'll just be something that happens in Texas? Because California, they actually have to have a referendum to do this. Do you think that they have the actual... Do you think there's the fire in California's belly to actually pass the referendum and continue this? And if that doesn't happen, do the Republicans still respond in other states and say, let's just go whole hog and go for as many seats as we can?
What would be another state that they would want to do this in?
Republicans or Democrats?
Yeah, Republicans.
Oh, I mean, we had let me see if I can find it.
Because it was like, there's like 7 states that have a strong percentage Republican with no Republican representation.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
My old home state, Massachusetts, they have 0 Republican representation, and
like
40% of the people in Massachusetts are Republicans. It's not 100%, Democrat. But the same thing kind of goes for California, right? Like they have a lot of people that are Republicans in California because there's just a lot of people in California, and there are very few Republican representatives. So
I mean, that's the problem, though, right? You can't show those 7 states to a Jasmine Crockett or whoever is making their argument to the contrary, because they probably know anyway. Well, she might not know, but the other ones who are talking about this might already likely know about this. They understand that it's not racial. They understand that it's absolutely about political power. They don't care, and they never have.
yeah. So it looks like, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 states that Republicans could redraw the maps in, whereas the Democrats have 4. So it doesn't look good for the Democrats. And California, again, California isn't even a guarantee. They're just talking about it, and they'd have to have a referendum, and the people would actually have to vote for it. So do you guys have the sense that this is something that the Republicans will push for? Because as far as I'm concerned, like I want to see the Republicans do everything they can to shove it down the Democrats' throats, because this is something, again, we talk about regularly. Democrats are going to do that. Democrats are going to do everything they can if and when they get back in power, because eventually they will. When they do, they are going to do everything they can to expand the court, the Supreme Court. They're going to try to add states. They're going to try to get rid of the Electoral College. Now, those things may not happen, but they're going to try, because Democrats aren't afraid to exercise power, whereas Republicans really do avoid exercising power.
I think with this,
go ahead.
With the success of Texas, hopefully, folks, Missouri, there's a couple other, North Carolina, South Carolina, will see this, or other states that we're talking about that need to be restricted. Ohio, definitely Ohio. Are you kidding me? Kentucky, Tennessee. Hopefully, they'll take the lead of Texas and be like, you know what? And we've been essing on them for so long for not taking the power that they're supposed to be taking. They've just been sitting by. The strongly worded letters aren't going to cut it, bro. So hopefully, I'm hoping, like Phil, and like we were saying as well too, Brett, that they should take the power and just do it. Just do it.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens from a leadership perspective on the Republican side. The other thing I would say is, if you're going to do it, but think through the opportunity cost. So if you're spending time on this, is there something else that's not going to get done? And so if you're going to do it knowing you're going to win. Like, be in it to win it, or focus on the thing you're not doing. So that would be my biggest thing, because I think a frustration a lot of times is sometimes, they like being number 2 versus number 1, because then you have to lead. So I would just say, for the Republicans, make sure if you're in it and you're going to do this, be in it to win it, and focus on, so what's not going to get done if we're focused on this.
Do you think that there's something that they could be better spent using their time for?
I mean, it depends. It depends on what's going state by state, what they should be focused on. So, like, for example, with Texas, they've had a lot of issues with having to deal with crime, immigration. They have a lot going on in that economy, and it's a very big state and a very diverse economy. And so for them, this is probably where they want to spend their time, and the opportunity cost is worth it. Some of the other states, I think you just have to look at the long list of things that need to get done that might not get done if you're focused on this.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump to this story now. We're going to talk a little bit about Bed Bath & Beyond. They went away for a couple of years, but they're coming back. Major retailer from Fox Business. Major retailer says no to California, pulls 0 punches outlining economic reality. Bed Bath & Beyond Executive Chairman Marcus Lemonis, I think that's right, announced on Wednesday that the company won't open or operate retail stores in California, saying the decision isn't about politics, it's about reality. Lemonis said in a statement posted on X that the decision was driven by the fact that the company wouldn't be able to sustain operations in the state due to higher taxes, higher fees, and higher wages, coupled with endless regulations that strangle growth. California has created one of the most overregulated, expensive, and risky environments for businesses in America, Lemonis said, noting that the state's policies created a system that makes it harder to employ people, harder to keep doors open, and harder to deliver value to customers. Lemonis said that the state's budget surpluses come at the expense of ordinary citizens who are paying too much and businesses who are squeezed until they break. Lamone said the company won't participate in a system that he says undermines both its customers and shareholders. But the company isn't alienating its California customers. Instead, Lamone said the company is investing in a strategy that will enable Californians to get products from BedBathAndBeyond.com that will be delivered between 24 and 48 hours. In many cases, same-day services will be offered. Lamone said nothing that it will Lamone said, noting that it will help the company avoid the inflated costs created by an unstable business model. This comes as the ailing company fights its way back to relevance after it collapsed in 2023 from mounting debt and several failed turnaround strategies. Under its parent company, renamed from Beyond Inc. to Bed Bath & Beyond this week, the retailer is returning to brick-and-mortar shops with its first Bed Bath & Beyond opening in Nashville earlier this month. So
theoretically, they should have like brick and mortar stores, right? Like products like that seem like something that you would want to go and actually buy in person.
Well, not only that, like, a lot of people like to be able to go and, hold things like towels or sheets. It's one thing to be like, oh, I want to order things that are not tactile that from Amazon, but
Was one of the things listed, did it have to do with crime? Was it like the lack of prosecution for stuff getting stolen? Are they worried about having to like lock up individual towels?
I think this case not so much because they'd been, out of business.
Just the taxes.
Yeah, it's not just the taxes. It's the cost of hiring people because the minimum wage is extremely high in California. It's probably the cost of regulation. Opening actual brick and mortar stores is not cheap in California. These things add up. And they disincentivize business. California loves to talk about how they're the 9th biggest economy in the world. And this is what one of the guys was saying earlier. The piece is a bit long, so we're not going to listen to it. But California loves to talk about how they're they're the 9th biggest economy in the world. And it's true, but that's because California's got beautiful weather and it's got beautiful land and stuff. Those kind of things only retain people for so long. You have Tesla's left, and that was a big deal because literally one of the politicians was vocally criticizing Musk on the internet, and Musk was like, all right, message received, and just moved out. That's a big business that they lost. That's a lot of people that worked there that had to either moved with Tesla or lost their jobs. And I don't know how many other companies have left California in the past 5 years.
Couldn't even keep Joe Rogan. That's
Joe Rogan left.
And Jamie.
And that's like, I don't know how many people Rogan employs, but it's not that many. But even still, like when you're that wealthy, as wealthy as Rogan is, look, man, you have a lot of leverage with getting around laws that you don't want to deal with or paying fees and stuff. It doesn't really matter. But Rogan, apparently it was too much for Rogan to take. And again, they've lost, I think they lost like 500,000 people over the past few years, which is incredible because if you've been to California, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful on the coast. Some of California is desert like the rest of the Southwest, but still, like it's really beautiful where the people are, the population centers. So it takes significantly bad governance to get people to say, I can't deal with you.
When you're going to lose a staple like In-N-Out Burger, the headquarters of In-N-Out Burgers that's known for being in California, they're going to move to Nashville or Tennessee. That's a big deal. Also, Phil, to answer your question, 200 companies since 2020 have moved out of California. Chevron, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Oracle, Charles Schwab, McKinsey, they all moved to Texas.
Yeah.
Like I was saying the other day in 2018 when I was doing recruiting. Yeah, over 200.
Putting any data centers?
When I was recruiting, everyone was moving to Texas even like 5 years ago before 2020.
So can we go back just for a second? But yes, on data centers, Stargate will be in Abilene, Texas. But let's talk about that because they're
no, the
Stargate,
AI Center.
The AI Center. But let's go back to the fact we are building brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. Everything old is new again. Old school is finally cool. And what's interesting, I'm raising 3 Gen Zs. Gen Zs love going to the mall. Gen Zs want in person. Gen Zs want tactile. They want to be places in real life. They don't get me wrong. They love convenience. So if they can get something delivered to them when it's convenient, great. But remember, we locked them up for like 10 to 20% of their life during COVID. Some places did, depending on where you lived. I mean, so just a quick story. So I live in North Carolina, but very close to the South Carolina border. And we were going crazy. It's the middle of COVID. Everything's closed in North Carolina. And so I picked up the phone and called a bowling alley in South Carolina about 10 miles from my house. And they picked up on the first ring. And I said, "Oh my gosh, are you open?" She said, "Honey, it's South Carolina. We never closed."
Nice.
And so we packed up the kids and we went bowling. But anyways, Gen Z loves brick and mortar, loves shopping in person. So it's going to be interesting to see. Look at Starbucks. In-store sales are down. Gen Z says this place is soulless. They're adding people to work in Starbucks. So while we're talking about AI on the one hand, Gen Z is speaking with their wallets and their pocketbooks. Let's go back to Texas, though. Abilene is going to have the big data center going in. I don't think a lot of people realize the energy consumption that AI, cryptocurrency, and eventually quantum is going to be asking for. But we've got some big decisions to make. So as these huge data centers go in, they're bigger than anything we have today. We have to ask ourselves, when it's in your neighborhood, when there's a rolling brownout, who gets the energy? Is it going to be the data center that's now powering really important things? Is it going to be your house? Is it going to be the hospital? Is it going to be the schools? Who's going to get it? So we've got some big questions that have to be answered.
So it'd be like
One of the
data center, hospital, maybe your house third.
Data center before hospital.
You
Jesus.
can't overstate how important the generating electricity is going to be for the future. And if you look at how much China's done, because you're right about the data centers, AI is incredibly electricity intensive, and China has, I think, I don't know how much they've increased, but they're just eating our lunch, and you can't get permits in the U.S. to turn on a nuclear power plant that will actually be functional before 2032 or something.
Do you know an American nuclear engineer?
No. You know, solar, like I like the idea of solar, and Musk seems to believe in solar. He thinks that he's like, this is the future. That's where it's going to be. But look, your nuclear generation nowadays, nuclear power generation is safe. Coal keeps the AI on. Well, I mean, right now it does over in China, but they're making massive gains in everything. China doesn't have the same kind of restrictions that the United States does.
They don't.
The United States, if China wants to do something, they just do it. It doesn't matter if they have to tear an entire village up and displace 10,000 people or 20,000 people. They don't care. They just do it. This is what the state needs now, and so that's what's going to happen. They've been building nuclear. They're building dams. They're building a dam now that's going to make the Three Gorges Dam look like child's play. The new dam is alleged to be is planned to be able to produce enough power to power all of a population the size of Germany, like the whole country from one dam. If the United States doesn't get their S together when it comes to power generation, they're going to lose. Never mind all the stuff you said, because you're totally right about brownouts. Like, does the AI center get the power? Or does the hospital that's keeping people on life support get the power? Or does your air conditioner get the power? Like, when the brownouts are happening, they're going to have to triage. That's going to happen. That's totally true. But not only that, if the United States isn't making enough power, the United States will lose the AI race. And that is the most important thing going right now. I know there are people that are AI skeptic and that say, oh, AI is not that impressive or it won't be. I truly believe that they are dead wrong, that this technology is going to not just revolutionize one industry, it's going to revolutionize the world. It's going to be bigger than the internet. It's going to be bigger than the printing press, the change that's going to happen because of AI.
It is. It's the next industrial revolution. And what people have to realize, so today's data centers don't match up to what we need for AI cryptocurrency. So the data centers that are being built, including in Abilene, Texas, as part of the Stargate rollout, they're going to need to be a 5 gigawatt campus. This is the equivalent to the power coming out of 3 nuclear plants.
Real quick question. Tucson, Arizona recently said they rejected unanimously their Project Blue data center, massive data center. So if they're going to keep saying no to the data centers, I mean, it was going to take all their water and kill the whole economy, and it's going to be terrible for them. But where can they put the data centers where they don't kill all the water and make people in the surrounding area, not have water and just live terrible lives.
Look, in 2024, China generated, 10,073 terawatt hours, while the United States generated 4,387 terawatt hours. Now, it's twice as much as the U.S., and granted, China has a lot more people, right? But that doesn't change the fact that they have the capacity, and the United States does not have the capacity, and China is building and investing in ways that the United States just is not. And this is a massive problem. This is something that is going to AI and power generation, like the number of electrons that you can generate, is a massive problem for the United States right now.
But they build cities that are dead. They spend a lot of money.
Oh yeah, they're empty.
You know what I mean? They spend all this money. I guess it's different when you get a data center compared to a construction site and a construction program. They build this huge city that no one lives in, where data center is online and it's actual. You don't need a structural foundation. It's just the cloud.
What was that?
What was that again?
Well, it's not the data center is an actual physical place.
No, I understand, but you're not building a huge city for people that aren't going to live in it. You're building a data center for people to use the cloud. Like I said. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
There's actually used. Data center has a use, whereas the city of emptiness is just there.
Yes. All right. Okay, I see what you're saying now. All
City of emptiness.
Yes, I was born and raised in the city of emptiness.
What city was that?
Hamlin, Pennsylvania.
Anyways,
They're going to put a data center there?
No, there's no data
Data
center.
no. All right. Well, back to the situation with Bed Bath & Beyond. The official statement from Marcus Lamont said, "We will not open retail stores in California. This isn't about politics. It's about reality. California's system makes it nearly impossible for businesses to succeed, and I won't put our company, our employees, or our customers in that position. See attachment."
What's annoying about it is it's actually a triumph of capitalism that they can reopen stores and still get products to people in California and find a way around that. But because the left is so anti-business and anti-capitalist by nature that they won't see this as the win that it is, what they'll say is, you should open a business here, lose money on it, and pay us $35,000 an hour. And instead, they're not seeing it for what it is, which is a win for everybody involved, because they're working with with what they've been given, which is crappy regulation, no ability to operate within the state, but still get products to people there.
Look, California's minimum wage is $16.50 an hour.
Okay, not 35,000.
Wow.
You're
close enough.
You're close.
But that's, look, the fact of the matter is, like, the amount of people that actually make minimum wage and the length of time that they stay at minimum wage is, like, it's very few people, and it's very, very short. I'm actually let me Google that.
That's a good question. Because $16.50 is not a living wage in California if you're living by yourself. In California in general,
No
you can't
way.
live by yourself even if you're making like $80K.
Well, that's why they should be happy that they don't get taxed on tips now.
Yeah.
Only for 4 years. And then we can talk about it later when Trump's out of office and we can have another wedge issue to fight about.
10% of workers.
Yeah, so they don't have an actual number for us, but 10% of workers in the state make no more than the current minimum wage.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that actually is. Let's see. California, approximately 10%.
So it says people make below that. Is that because they're working like commission?
Well, it
Or
would be,
waiting tables.
yeah,
and-
people that are working in the service
Yeah.
industry, or possibly they might be talking about people that are illegals, that are being paid under the table, and they might be throwing them into the estimate, but I don't really know. But even still, like, I'm not sure. Let me see what they say about total.
Just real quick, I know someone recently who went to the service industry, and they're like, what, $235 an hour? They had no idea, because it's all tips. Your income is tips. You get
Right.
$235 an hour, and they blew their mind until.
But I think you have to pay babysitters at least $20 an hour if you want a decent babysitter. So I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm
that
trying
makes sense. Yeah.
So there's about 869,000 hourly workers in the United States that make the federal minimum wage. So that's 1.1% of hourly workers. That is an exceedingly small amount of people that actually make minimum wage. Most people, make considerably more than minimum wage. Even if they're not making a lot of money, most people are making more than minimum wage. So it's the idea that raising the minimum wage is important to a considerable number of the electorate is just wrong.
Well, it's another wedge issue that they focus on during election season because it wouldn't matter anyways with inflation at the rate that it's at now. It's like we've been so past like wages have failed to raise with the rate of inflation for so long that it's almost a moot point.
Yeah.
Because the cost of everything is going up anyways.
And that's why Walgreens and all those guys went out of business in California, because they started doing $20 an hour and they couldn't afford to pay the people.
That and then the fact that people
and the regulations,
stealing and all
sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, you go in to buy deodorant and it's all locked individually in a case, or you have to go to the front desk and say, or the cashier and say, "I'd like a deodorant. Here's the."
I just want to smell clean. That's all I want to do is smell clean. But no, I got to go through the whole process.
Yeah. So I mean, California, and not only that, but when the police won't enforce laws against shoplifting, that's what happens. It's essentially telling people it's okay. Why wouldn't you? What's going to stop you if the police won't actually enforce the law?
Mm-hmm. It's all Cloward Piven stuff. Like they just destabilize and knock it all down, and then when they're greeted as liberators when they come to inevitably, we'll instate our laws and our order and everything like that, but it's not really working because we're the ones instituting the law and order. So it kind of backfired for them, I think.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to jump to this story here from the Post Millennial. Cracker Barrel fans slam new redesign. Woke CEO insists feedback is overwhelmingly positive. Cracker Barrel is facing a wave of backlash after unveiling its first major logo design since 1977, with longtime customers and fans furious that the company quietly dropped its signature cowboy from the image that defined the chain for nearly 5 decades, says Gray News. The company's CEO is now under attack from Cracker Barrel traditionalists who believe the brand is being mismanaged. The country-style restaurant chain rolled out the new look, keeping its gold and brown palette, but removed the iconic figure of a man leaning against a barrel with a minimalist design focused solely on the barrel itself. In a statement, the company said the refreshed logo is rooted even more closely to the iconic barrel shape and word mark that started it all. The controversy comes on the heels of other missteps by CEO Julie Fless-Massino, who took the helm less than a year ago. Last year, she sparked outrage during an investor call by declaring, "We're just not as relevant as we once were," while admitting that some of our recipes and processes haven't evolved in decades. Those remarks, combined with sluggish post-pandemic business, rattled investors. The company's stock plunged nearly 20% in the weeks following her comments, sinking to a 52-week low of 45.35, its weakest trading level in more than 10 years, according to Daily Mail.
Shouldn't she have been focused on the we are a mainstay, we're something that doesn't need to change, we represent a steady hand for America that is resistant to change because it's good the way it is? Isn't the CEO's job to frame things in a positive light?
If you go by the stock price, I would say that's probably
but they're saying that stock drop also came out on the heels of her making those comments, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a bad idea, clearly.
Yeah.
I have to say, they waited 47 years to change the logo. So why now?
Yeah. Well,
Why change that? What were people saying? I really don't like the barrel and the
who
Cracker
are the young
Barrel.
people? Are they looking for young people to come in and come to Cracker Barrel? Because that's not your audience. Like a part of running a business is knowing who your target market is. Now I understand that with most businesses, you're always looking to expand and you never just want to settle into one demographic and stick with it. But for a company like this, you have to, at the very least, you have to settle into what you know works and then perhaps branch out from there.
Yeah. I mean, the it's normal to see a backlash from people on the internet when it comes to significant changes. But there was another picture that I saw going around, and I don't know if it's actually in this piece from the Post Millennial, but they had changed the inside too. All of the knickknacks that were, frequently, or in all of the Cracker Barrels, because the walls are just packed with stuff. They're just consistently full of things. Those are all going to be changed too, and it looks sparse in comparison to the way that it used to be. And it's almost like I couldn't help but think of like it was in my imagination. It's like if Brooklyn was designing a Cracker Barrel, because it reminded me of the picture of like that sparse little barbecue when people were saying, "Oh, this is what barbecue in Brooklyn's like," and it's like you think of barbecue, you think of a big plate of stuff, and like it were these tiny little portions. And it just made me think this is not what people think of when they think of Cracker Barrel, and it doesn't seem to stay true to the spirit of the company.
Homogeneity is the name of the game with fast food now, though. I mean, McDonald's looks like a corporate office when you go inside there, and the same is true. Like whenever we're back visiting in Michigan, there's like a Shake Shack there, and it looks like a CPA office. It doesn't have any personality whatsoever. So most of these places, I don't know if most of it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the business comes from delivery now, anyways, from DoorDash. That they just don't try as hard inside. But he said this lady's only been in charge for like a year. She's taking it down in record time. We are going to see a ton of think pieces on X too about how this is another sign about the death of the American culture. There's going to be very long articles written by people about how this is actually a sign of the end times.
Let's see what she had to say about this here.
All right, I got to ask this question. I think I probably know the answer. What if all the customers are coming at you hard enough about the look of the restaurant and they want to go back to the old way? Would you do it?
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and once every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Well, Julie Messino, it's wonderful to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for answering those questions for all the Cracker Barrel fans out there. There's a lot of great changes.
Thank you so much.
I wonder how true that is.
I could believe that the employees wanted a remodel. I don't know if I buy that the people that go there want to remodel.
Do you think that this is a situation that they should have done something like Microsoft did when what Google did when they went from yellow to white? How they just slightly changed it every day over the course of a year. If they just started pulling things down one at a time and then slowly changed it to the new remodel.
Yeah, that's what they should have done. I mean, they shouldn't do it anyways. This has radicalized me more than like anything we've talked about in the last few years. As a fan of Cracker Barrel,
online,
this is horrible. What's worse, this or the MSNBC rebrand?
This.
Yeah, who cares about MSNBC, MS Now?
Yeah,
No one cares about that.
This, I think that this is worse because Cracker Barrel actually, like, I liked Cracker Barrel, or I do like Cracker Barrel, and I don't care about what MSNBC or what MS Now does because I don't pay attention.
I think it would be interesting to see how the same store sales start to look a quarter from now, but if I were advising the new CEO, which I'm not, but if she's listening, she might be, you never know. If she were listening, what I would say to her is, when I worked in banking, we used to do mystery shopper. So we would go in as if we were a customer, not present ourselves as somebody from corporate, and just mingle with the other customers, see how we were treated and see what the experience felt like. I would highly recommend she do like an undercover boss and be like a mystery shopper and just go visit the Cracker Barrels and even try to engage with other customers to get some real customer focused feedback. That would be my biggest recommendation to her if she were asking my opinion. And if she's watching the show, that's what I would say.
The Cracker Barrel crowd aren't like hippy dippy drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, hippies, like cool kids anymore. They're just older generations. They want to relax. Want to have breakfast in the morning with steak and eggs. They love the old, like you said, Gen Z. Mm-hmm. They might like the walls full of like memorabilia and all the stuff of like the history of America. That would be nice. But when you make it all bland and also, real quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think women, this is off topic, they come in and they ruin Bud Light? Not they, but certain people come in, they ruin Bud Light.
Wait, are you blaming women CEOs?
The more I'm learning about these CEOs and these HR reps, like what's going on with the whole, can women be in charge of a company? What do you think?
In charge of my company.
Are you successful?
Yeah, we're very successful. I'm here, aren't I? Come on.
Great.
I know, I'm just having fun.
But I do have to ask, does anybody know, did they get rid of the pegboards where you
I was going to
except
say.
that's gone. We need to leave now. We ride tonight.
Or the checkers outside.
Wait, what do you
Right,
mean?
and the rocking chairs.
If they get rid of that stuff, I'm never going back.
No, we ride.
I'll go
That game
else.
is
We gotta
so
go
hard
to
to
our Cracker
win.
Barrel.
You ever won that game? It's
You
tough.
bet.
Tim
bet.
asked ChatGPT how to win it one night when we were.
Did he?
Yeah.
He loves
So
cheese.
this
I
picture
mean, it takes me a while. I got to warm up a little bit,
Sure.
to get back
See,
into the
it's so-
groove of it.
See, this is a terrible picture. It doesn't actually.
Oh yeah, that's
There were videos on
Terrible.
X of it. There were some
there?
videos of people. You can probably find them on X, but it's just like there were no like actual booths when you went there before. It was all hardback chairs.
You look exactly. That was one of the things that I wanted to point out. These chairs,
Yeah.
like when I Googled it, they brought up pictures of just the changes, some of the changes they've made. But this one is the one that I wanted to see, or this particular redesign, because getting rid of the round back, the round top chairs that really had that rustic look.
yeah.
In favor of this, it's like this might as well be an IHOP. Right, this might as well be.
I thought it looked like a hospital cafeteria.
the local,
Fair enough.
the local.
This one or the
Apple-
older one? The older one?
This looks
yeah.
like a hospital
Yeah, yes.
cafeteria.
The Applebee's by my house has more memorabilia
Right.
than this does.
Yeah,
So
this looks like everything else.
Modernia is basically doing terrible things for culture, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It all looks the same now.
yeah, there is a.
Everything looks the same.
Like last night, you guys talking about that shitbox house. That's the African American History Museum that looks like the Chewbacca's.
Well, it looks like the Jawas.
Yeah, it's all like ever since World War II, we went to this weird. And I heard
brutalism.
Yeah, brutalism.
Hyper-brutalism.
Instead of because the Nazis and those folks were like they liked things looking pretty and stuff, and we're like, you know what, we're gonna fight against that. We're gonna make everything look like square boxes and trash.
Yeah.
And now it looks like square boxes and trash.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I do agree with you guys. Like the sameness of all of the, or at least of this particular look, right? Like the fact that it looks like an IHOP or it looks like a Friendly's. There's no rustic charm. I mean, I imagine that. If I look at this place, I can't imagine what the store would hold,
Yeah.
right? Like the stores that are attached to Cracker Barrel, they have a bunch of cool knickknacks. It's a great place to get little gifts or whatever, you know. And I mean, this doesn't look like it. And again, I don't know because this is just the one pick, and I couldn't find anything else to actually give us a better idea. But well, this one's another one. Like you can't really.
Look at that.
Well,
That's
this is-
beautiful.
There it is. See, you got clothing. You've got that's what I'm talking about.
Baby
That's what
clothes.
America wants. Give America what they want.
Yeah, and let's see, where's that?
That's that easy. You know, that should be
Is that easy?
everyone's line. Give America what they want.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, here's a video.
My kids had Halloween costumes from Cracker Barrel, and they're adorable costumes.
I mean, it's a little reminiscent of the old stuff, but it's not particularly.
you know, it could almost be like a lobby and an aloft hotel.
Yeah.
You feel
The
that? Do
lighting
you feel
shouldn't
that
be
vibe?
that good.
Yeah.
The lighting should be bad.
You know, I mean, it's much cleaner than most people are used to
Yeah.
at Cracker Barrel, and I do think that this is, you know, again, you're gonna get backlash when you make changes to brands that have been around for a while, but I don't know that. I don't know that this is something that people are going to be able to get over. Do you guys think that this is going to be something that will affect their attendance, or do you think that if the food is the same, people will be like, whatever?
I
Are we just
think
being fuddy-duddies?
I think we might be fuddy-duddies, but I feel like older folks who are older than us, like my dad's age, they will be like, "What is this? Why is this? I don't like this. That's not what I like." So I think they might lose the older folks, and I don't know if the younger hippie, you know, Gen Z, younger Gen X are going to come into that. Like nobody, Cracker Barrel's an old person place.
Is it an old person place?
Yes, from what I think
that's,
it is.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Her branding, she's working against like a preconception people have of the restaurant. Like, how many people in their 20s and 30s are like, let's go to Cracker Barrel tonight? I mean, I do that, but that's
Look, man, it's one of the few places around here that I actually like their pancakes. We brought home a box of the pancake mix because I like the pancakes there. So I'll still go even if it looks bad or doesn't look like Cracker Barrel.
What if they change the food? It sounds like she's getting ready to change the menu.
Then I'm going to change where I'm going to go get pancakes then, huh?
that would probably do even more damage, honestly.
Right, if you
think
can
so,
change
too.
the look, but if you keep the food delicious as it always has been, then maybe they can, you know, bring in new crowds.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to this next story from the Post Millennial. The DHS paints U.S.-Mexico border wall black so it's too hot to climb. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem revealed Tuesday that the southern border wall between the United States and Mexico will be painted black as part of an effort to increase deterrence against illegal crossing. Speaking from Santa Teresa, New Mexico, Noem said the decision was more made to make the wall hotter under the sun, which would make it more difficult to climb. She also noted that painting the wall black will increase the lifespan of the metal. Noem emphasized that the request came directly from President Trump. If you look at the structure that's behind me, it's tall, which makes it very, very difficult to climb, almost impossible. It also goes deep into the ground, which would make it very difficult, if not impossible, to dig under. And today we are also going to be painting it black. We get a little video from Secretary Noem here.
Remember that a nation without borders is no nation at all. And we're so thankful that we have
She's
a president that
hilarious.
understands
Look at
that and
outfit.
understands that a
It's
secure
cute.
border
Cute as
is
heck.
important to our country's future. Now, if you look at the structure that's behind me, it's tall, which makes it very, very difficult to climb, almost impossible. It also goes deep into the ground, which would make it very difficult, if not impossible, to dig under. And today, we are also going to be painting it black. That is specifically at the request of the president, who understands that in the hot temperatures down here, when something is painted black, it gets even warmer, and it will make it even harder for people to climb. So we are going to be painting the entire southern border wall black to make sure that we encourage individuals to not come into our country illegally, to not break our federal laws, but that they will abide and come to our country the right way so that they can stay and have the opportunity to become United States citizens and pursue the American dream.
This is hilarious.
I'm surprised she's not wearing painter's overalls.
Right?
It's like paint
Yep,
splattered on
exactly.
them, like she just
should
did
be.
it herself.
I don't know why. Yeah, she shouldn't be wearing this outfit. She should have been wearing overalls.
Who's going to be painting it? Illegal aliens? Or
No.
Criminal aliens? I'm sorry.
I don't
I'm just saying.
imagine.
You know, what kind
Might
of
be
$20
robots.
an hour?
Might be robots.
Ooh.
Painting robots.
I mean, look.
How there's such a thing?
She's going to paint it herself. I'm telling you. She's going to go into
Exactly
that.
right. Look, is this going to actually deter people from climbing the wall, though? Do you think? I don't get the sense that climbing the wall was a big problem. It seems far more common that you hear about people digging under the wall and tunnels, cartels moving drugs that way, as opposed
And people that way, too, through
Yep.
the tunnels. Absolutely.
An angle grinder. You could just cut
Yeah.
that bitch down.
Yeah, I mean,
Write a hole in it and you're fine.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how much of the wall has actually been built. I know that there are sections, but it's certainly not from the Gulf to the Pacific. That's not at all the case. So, they build it, but there's still a lot. I think that it's my sense that the effect of people not coming into the country anymore, like the amount of or the fewer numbers of people that are coming in, are because of policy and less because of physical barriers or what have you.
Because they know they're going to get sent away right away.
Yeah, I mean, the more you make it difficult for people to actually come in, and if you have policies that are like, hey, if you get caught, we're just going to send you out, as opposed to you get caught and you get a hearing date, when people know they can just disappear into the interior. That's the kind of thing that actually deters people, right? I mean,
Well, and I mean, to me, this has been a problem like my whole life. We've never fixed this problem. People want to be in this country, and they want to be here, most of them legally. And I don't know why we can't, and why can't the Republicans figure out a way to give people an easier way to get work visas, and to, I mean, we did it in the past with Ellis Island, and that's how my family got here. I don't know why we can't fix this issue, because nobody wants the idea of the coyotes taking people, because all the coyotes are going to do, as in the people that are coyotes, they're going to throw up drones, they're going to see where the wall is built, and they're just going to find a way around the wall and go a different direction. And you have people being human trafficked because they want a better life and they're desperate. We should do a better job of making it easier for people who are desperate to have a better life to have an appointment, to do the paperwork, and to be here.
well, I have a different take on immigration personally, but you were going to go ahead.
Back in the day, Ellis Island, they had like 5,000 a month or something crazy. Not a lot. Now we have Joe Biden's 10 million in the last couple of years, so it's a lot harder, a lot more people, you need a lot more infrastructure. I agree with you. I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
a lot of mismanagement over decades. Yes.
Yes. So that's a challenge. when you're trying to have people come in legally and then you got this ginormous amount of legal illegals coming in, it's tough to make it work together. Which is tough. It's hard. They can make it work. No, they can't make it work.
I always thought that
illegals will never be able
the
to.
difficulty to get here was a feature, not a bug, because they wanted the people that could afford it, and they wanted people to bring the best and the brightest here.
Yeah.
If it's super easy for everyone to get in, then it becomes a detriment to the country because the people who come in become a net negative for society, rather than if you make it more difficult, more expensive, the people that come in are going to add to the economy rather than detract from it.
Like brain drain.
And that's kind of interesting because, like you said, you worked under the Bush administration, and it's in my lifetime seeing the way that politics has changed on the topic of immigration, with both Republicans and Democrats at least paying lip service to the idea of fixing the border back. I mean, even Obama did in the early days of his first term, talked about strengthening the border security and things like that. And then 2016 rolls around and it's changed completely, but it's a much more polarizing issue because it's now downstream from the race issue. And how different was it back then? Was that even something that was really talked about a lot during the?
Not really as much when I was there second half of the second term, so other things were kind of going on. But I mean, I remember growing up, like Reagan deciding to do amnesty because we were then going to fix it, and then we didn't fix it. And we have to come up with the right way, and I think you're right to be able to say, look, we have room for X number of all these different skill sets, all these different backgrounds, and we have to come up with a way to, if people want to be here legally, to figure out how to make that work. And you see other countries, it's very hard to immigrate there. So like, for example, Italy, you have to pass an Italian fluency test. You have to show that you're going to have work to do. You have to show that you're buying property. So to your point, there's different policies that are applied. We have to figure out in the United States, what do we want to be, and how do we welcome different walks of life, and how do we do that in a way where they can be legal and not be in the shadows? Because if we don't fix this issue from a policy perspective, like you said, there's a deterrent right now because we say if we catch you here illegally, you will not be allowed to apply for legal immigration. But we have to find out, who do we want to be as a nation, and then figure out how are we going to, from a policy, allow people to be here legally or deter them from trying to be here illegally. Because there is human trafficking and suffering that goes on because we haven't made up our mind what we want to be.
Well, I mean, so to that point, I do think that the American people generally have an opinion that is fairly clear, or at least the majority of them do. When it comes to illegal immigration, people don't like it. And people don't want to have illegal immigration. They want to make sure that the border's secure.
Yes.
They understand the risks associated with illegal immigration, whether it be human trafficking, drug smuggling, possibly smuggling terrorists in the United States. And when you're dealing with probably 15 million or so in 4 years, you're talking about the possibility that a foreign country could have smuggled a literal army into the United States.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
And America's the only country, because of the way politics are here, mostly from the left, that is, they're not. Every other country is allowed to act in their own self-interest when it comes to immigration policy. America is the only country where you're supposed to be allowed to be here just by virtue of America existing and other countries not being as good as America, which is also being propagated by the people that are saying that America's awful. The people that are saying America is awful are telling you that these people coming from these other countries should be able to come to our supposedly awful country because it's better than the country they live in. But whoa, you can't call their country awful because it's racist to do so. And I think that there's a lot of people that are just fed up with the double standard for a lot of that stuff. And with the way, this whole thing came up last year with the H-1B visa discussion with Elon Musk and Americans being fed up with how they feel that work is being outsourced in a lot of ways on top of all that. And it has been a very, very long time since Americans have been allowed to put their own interests first. And it's like, look, we've got 10,000 issues we need to figure out in this country. We'll worry about, legal immigration being a more, we're going to focus on the illegal immigration now, put a stop to that. We'll focus on getting other people the opportunity to come here once we secure everybody else in this country. And I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with it. I get the perspective of people that want it. And I do believe that. I think one of the most important things about legal immigration is that it encourages people to come here that actually do have a strong desire to be here and they want to hold American values and all that that represents. But right now, we've got a lot of bigger fish to fry, or at least it feels that way to me.
We do. And I will say for people who came here the right way, filled out the paperwork, paid the money, did everything, became citizens, they have said they don't like the idea that people are here illegally and that they can jump in the front of the line.
Yeah.
Peggy Noonan wrote an op-ed on this many years ago where she said, the reason why illegal immigration, one of the things that's really bad about it is the first thing the person has done is they've broken our nation's laws.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that the American people are generally on board with. They want to see the immigration situation fixed. And to be fair, like Donald Trump has really done a lot to fix it. Like if the Trump administration standard were the standard for the past 5-6 years, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are now. We wouldn't have probably 15 million illegals. There wouldn't have been almost 500,000 people trafficked here every year for the 4 years that the Biden administration was in power.
There was a gas station down by the castle that was owned by this family from Tibet, and they would show me videos about people getting caught immigrating here illegally, and they were pissed. Like, they did not like it. They did not support it because they spent, a good amount of all their family's capital to get them here so they could start a business and be, upstanding members of society. So that's also, again, there was did you see the post the other day on X from like PBS that was like X amount of
God, I couldn't believe it.
Support immigration, and everybody knew that it was weasel words BS. That did you actually ask them, did they mean illegal or legal? But that's just more of the same garbage that we're getting from the media. It's why people don't trust them.
The left loves using we're a nation of immigrants. Nothing against Ellis Island, but that's very false. A lot of folks moved here from European lands to get away from religious persecution, but also to colonize, to expand themselves, to expand their future, not to be some multiculturalism state or land. They came here because they want to spread themselves and their family. So they're not here being an immigrant; they're colonizing. We're a nation of colonizers, just like Europe and England. So the lie of that we're a nation of immigrants, sure, whatever, but that's not true. You can say that, but it's very false because people came here because they wanted to be something. They wanted to venture and be forth and, love life.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're coming to the United States because you want to do something and you're in a place where you don't have the economic freedom or you don't have the ability to do it, that's one thing. But if you're just looking to come to the United States so that way you can make an economic, you can get onto some kind of support plan that the federal government offers or whatever, that's not the kind of person that you want in the country at all. And it's not racist to say we don't want to take people into the country just so they can get benefits from the United States. You look at what's going on in the UK right now, and there are a lot of people they're not going there because they want to be like the people in Great Britain. They don't look at themselves as anything other than economic migrants. They're going there because they can get on to the benefit rolls and they can get something from the country. That's it. And they tell you that. They don't go there because they think Britain is this great place. They don't go there because they believe in the history of the British Empire or because they have some kind of affinity for the royal family or anything like that. They go there because of the benefits.
They may be actually anti-royal family from some of the YouTube videos that I see.
It seems so. But that is something that is that is abhorrent to a country that is a free country or ostensibly a free country, right? You don't want to have people that are coming to the United States just because they're looking for an economic benefit.
And that era of immigration, the Ellis Island era of immigration, it's from a time when there was America was seen as something to aspire to, and there was a lot of values that we all coalesced around that's largely been disbanded as this country's kind of become more fractured, whether it's on demographic change, political change, different ideologies. People don't have that same, melting pot view of what America is to coalesce around as a place where everybody can come together under the banner of the United States of America. We're largely fractured now, so all of this stuff gets infinitely more complicated when you don't even have shared value system.
Yeah, so we're going to jump to some breaking news right now. Nick Sorter is reporting, and we've got a clip from Fox News. The Trump administration is revoking license of the employer of the foreigner who killed 3 people while U-turning a semi-truck in Florida. Good, hold employers accountable, and they'll stop working with illegals. This is something that, well, let's go ahead and
Phil loves this, by the way.
Yeah, this speaks right to my
where you had an illegal alien truck
preferences.
driver that got a commercial driver's license in the state of California, employed by a California company, kill 3 people in Florida. This guy didn't even speak English. We're bringing him up on charges. He's going to face a lot. And I can announce, Jesse, that I said initially the company needs to be held accountable. And we've been working with the federal government, and they are pulling that company's license to do business because you cannot employ somebody who cannot read the road signs. California. We had an issue where
I've said this a couple times on the show. My personal policy preferences when it comes to illegal immigration, right? Obviously, you shut down the border. If you pick up an illegal, you send them back. But there's something that needs to be done about the companies that are actually hiring illegals, because they're the draw, right? If you've got, and it's good to see this happening, that the Trump administration is going to revoke the license. I personally would go further. I want to see the people that are actually owners of the company. I want to see them put in jail, and I want to see their company taken from them.
So I have a question. Like, are they not doing the I-9 process? Like, I'm an employer. I have to do an I-9 for everybody that I hire.
Apparently not.
I'm going to search that, but I don't think in California they have that rule and regulation as far as because they have illegal.
And this company's hiring people to travel, across state lines. So obviously the Commerce Clause is involved. So the federal government does have jurisdiction. But if you hire people that are illegal, you should lose your business, like totally. In totality, because that's the only way that you're going to make it not worth hiring illegals. This guy couldn't read the signs. They did a test on him. He only identified 2 of 10 different signs that they showed to him.
How does he have a driver's license?
That's something, well, California gives driver's license out. He can't speak English, which I think the United States should have.
He literally passed a sign test in California.
No, he didn't. He probably didn't pass it. Is the point? Like, he probably wasn't tested properly, or or someone just said, well, here you go, because we feel bad for immigrants, or I don't want to get called a racist, or this is just the policy of California. I don't know the details about how he actually got it, but on site they gave him a test. He couldn't read signs. He can't speak English, which is something that I've been railing about. It was before the Trump administration said that they were going to make. Donald Trump said that he made that executive order that said that English is the official language of the United States. That needs to be done by Congress, and there should be no paperwork produced by the federal government in any other language except for English. This is exactly why. He couldn't read the signs. Whether or not he knew he was supposed to get, whether or not he knew it was illegal for a U-turn, it doesn't matter. But he was here illegally. He couldn't speak English, couldn't read the signs. The company.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I brought this stuff up. He crossed here illegally. He was fast-tracked for deportation in 2018. The stuff about this guy goes on and on. I read somewhere else just recently. I was trying to get information about some of the stuff that he did. Released on $5,000 immigration bond.
They had to know what they were hiring.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. He got most of the questions wrong on his tests, for the CDL itself. So he wasn't supposed to be driving at all.
This guy and people have lost their lives because of it. The guy should go to jail for the rest of his life. The driver and the company that hired him, they should lose their not just their license, but all of his property. Like all of the business property. They have no problem and I don't have a problem with this either. They have no problem stripping all kinds of property away from people that are dealing drugs. They have no problem taking all kinds of property away from people that have have acquired their wealth through fraud, they take all that away. Why not for people that hire illegals? If you hire illegals, you should lose your property, because that's the only way to make sure that companies don't think it's worth hiring illegals.
What state did those? First of all, the poor families that lost 3 loved ones. Like, we don't want to roll over the fact that we have families who have people that are not coming home and they don't get to hug them again, and that is horrible. Did this happen in Florida?
This happened in Florida, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see from a court perspective, because this happened. So there's the federal piece, then there's the Florida court piece. It'll be interesting to see, can you try the owner of the company for vehicular manslaughter
I would love to see
of 3. Basically, it's vehicular manslaughter of 3 individuals. And so it'll be interesting to see, because basically he put this person behind the wheel and shouldn't have.
And I'm guessing he's making a lot less money than people who are here legally, this employee.
Pardon me?
Like, I'm guessing this employee was making a lot less money because he was here.
I don't know.
Like, the other thing about most of this issue with a lot of, maybe not with this one specifically, is like, because of a mixture of like far left, we don't believe in borders policy, and bleeding heart liberalism, which tells you that, we have to let everyone in because they have been they are oppressed elsewhere. We need to let them in and invite them here, but not bring them here, not even encourage them to come here legally. You're creating a slave class of people who do not have to, be paid at the regular rates. Which, like Phil said, if these companies can bring them in illegally and pay them under the table, they will. They'll always try to get away with it. And it's been nefariously pushed forward in a way now where it's shown as a good thing to create an entire class of people who are ostensibly slaves.
Yeah. Well, Democrats love the caste system. Like, they love the caste system. But answer your question, yes. N9 and I9 is required in California, to answer your question. Just so we're 100% on that chat.
So they were just illegal. Then this whole process.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's if I understand correctly, that's fairly typical.
And if it's the fine is so minimal, they'll we'll just risk it.
That's why I think that there should be the most harsh punishments imaginable. You should lose your entire business. And the same goes for people that rent to illegals. If you're found to have rented an apartment to an illegal, you lose your property. You lose that rental location.
I thought that was harsh at first the other day, but I'm like, I'm totally aboard, brother. You know what I mean? Let's go America, F these people.
Because the whole point is you need to disincentivize people from coming here. And this is actually the more compassionate way, because now we've got so many people that are seeing videos of ICE going and raiding apartments and picking people up, and you have people freaking out because ICE is hurting people and they're tearing families apart and blah, 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 blah. If you don't want that to happen, the next best thing is deterring people from coming here, making the people that are here illegally, right? Instead of going to pick them up and having ICE have to put hands on and fighting with people or grabbing them after they come out of court for their hearing or whatever, which is something that the left is freaking out about now. Make it so that way they can't find a place to live. Make it so that way people are like, if you can't prove to me that you're here legally, I'm not renting to you because I don't want to lose my whole apartment building. Take it from them.
Ship them all to Minnesota, because I've seen videos of people living in Minnesota and it's freezing out, and they're like from Africa. They're like, I can't live in this cold weather. You kidding me? I'm going home.
Look, man, if you're putting hands on them, don't ship them to Minnesota. Ship them to home.
Well, you know what I mean.
But the point being, the more you do this, if people that are here illegally can't find places to live, can't find places to work, and people that are outside of the U.S. that are looking to come here, if they know they can't find a place to get a job, or if they know they won't be able to get a place to live, they won't come. The people that are here will be like, I can't work here. I need to go home. Another thing is tax remittances at 95%. If you want to come here, work, and then send money back to your home, your country of origin, why should we allow that? We've got $37 trillion in debt. Take that money from them. The government has no problem doing any of this stuff. They do it to people all the time. Civil asset forfeiture. If you've got cash in your car and you get pulled over because you're going to buy a car or for whatever reason, the government will just, the police station will just take your cash. They'll say, that's ours now. If the government can do that, There should be no problem with taxing remittances at 95%. If the government can take your property because they think it's ill-gotten gains from whatever reason, drugs, from any kind of illicit activity, take their property for hiring, for employing or hiring illegals as well.
Dude, this is crazy. I did a little bit of digging, and I found this article from June, or it was updated on the 25th of June in 2025. And this guy, Raymond, I guess a Punjabi guy, was talking to Joe Biden and said that when they rolled this Biden-Harris trucking action plan out with his administration, it was a coming crisis. So this is in June 25th when this is written, and this happened in 2019. I highlighted this thing right here, where he basically, this is the guy, I think this is him right here, who's also Sikh, like the guy who's a driver, but he points out that they repeatedly tried to tell the Biden administration that the bigger problem is you're just issuing these licenses when they don't know English enough to pass the exam. He's like, give me a reason why you want to test in Punjabi. Most of the schools in California have opened up schools in Utah because in Utah there's third-party testing. Like, he literally pointed it out that this is going to happen a month or so before, if not like a while before, and like here we are, it's happening. All the stuff that they've been saying for so long, it's all literally coming to fruition. All the stuff we said is this is going to be bad, this is going to be bad, it's going to be bad. It's all.
And whether it's an illegal committing murder, rapes and murders, which you hear stories frequently about, or whether it's an illegal here that gets into a car accident, or any number of other terrible things that happen that wouldn't have happened if that person wasn't here.
They weren't
Forget about any of the other stuff, not whether it's intentional or a crime or whatever, just the fact that because that person was inside the United States, these things happened, whether they're crimes or accidents. Those are things that do not have to happen. They did not have to happen. If the government had done what it's supposed to do, which is enforce the border, enforce the restriction on people coming into the United States, and actually follow the law, and Democrats love to say no one's above the law, but they will let foreign immigrants, criminal aliens, they will let them skirt the law so that way they can have more people. And I truly believe this is the case. The reason they want to have more people in the United States is for the census, so that way they can get more representation for Democrats in the Congress. That was the whole point of it. The Health and Human Services, the Bureau of Health and Human Services had a program called the Refugee Resettlement Program, where they would ship people in. They would literally put them on planes, ship them all over the country, ship them to purple states, and ship them to blue states again, because they want those census numbers. It wasn't about, as much as I do think that there were probably people that are voting illegally, I don't think that they were illegally voting in numbers great enough to actually affect the outcome of the elections. But I don't think that that was the plan. The plan was to get the kind of representation in Congress because of the through the census. You know, if you increase the number of people in blue states, you increase the number of people in purple states, you can get better representation on the Democrat side in Congress, you know, when the census comes through, because the way that the census is done, or the way that the representation in Congress is counted, is not by citizens. They just count the people. So it doesn't matter if you're citizens. It's unimportant. So yeah, I think that the repercussions for hiring or essentially harboring illegals, whether they're renting or whether you're giving them a job, I think that they should be significantly stiffer than they are. I love the fact that the Trump administration is going to revoke the license of this company that hired this guy. But I don't think it's enough. They should take their property. They should take all their trucks.
That's why you're going to be working for Kristi Noem, my friend. That's why
she's going to show up in a trucker hat, and
looking all
flannel shirt on. Absolutely.
Before I move on, to get some facts straight, out of basically 2,000 miles of the Mexican-U.S. border, we have about 100 miles of border done. It's not a lot.
So how about we get the rest of the border built, then we'll worry about what color it is.
I rock with that. And then in the words of a beautiful woman who has my heart and soul, Kamala Harris, don't come. Don't come.
Yeah.
Don't come.
You know, so. All right, we're going to jump to this next story. From the Post-Millennial, breaking: woke Target CEO resigns amid boycotts, declining sales.
Ooh.
Target announced Wednesday that longtime chief executive Brian Cornell will step down next year as the retailer deals with sales declines and stacking controversies from both sides of the political aisle. Chief Operating Officer Michael Fiddicle has been named as his successor, reports CNN. Cornell took over in 2014 and was credited with bringing life to the brand a decade ago, but has struggled in recent years as Target faced drops in revenues in the post-pandemic economy. In the first quarter of 2025, sales fell more sharply, and executives have warned that the downward trend is likely to continue throughout the end of the year. The retailer, which operates nearly 2,000 stores nationwide, has blamed consumer spending amid economic uncertainty and tariffs. The company has been hit by boycotts that have taken a toll. Customers objected to its diversity and inclusion initiatives, which the company pared back in January after criticism from conservatives and the White House. At the same time, Target has faced backlash from progressives. Yep. The Guardian reported in July that many black Americans were boycotting large retailers, including Target and Amazon, while a petition drive earlier in the year gathered more than 250,000 signatures from customers pledging to stop shopping at Target. The cultural battles intensified with the release of Pride merchandise in 2023, including the children's items and tuck-friendly swimsuits, which triggered a conservative-led boycott. That campaign, combined with a resurfaced 2015 advertisement featuring children in a Pride Month promotion, fueled further outrage. The video, which ends with the line, "We're not born with pride, we take pride in celebrating who we were born to be," has circulated widely online in recent weeks, renewing criticism from opponents. It is never a good idea to have children involved with LGBT stuff because children are not sexual beings. That should be something that is as obvious as any other obvious thing, as plain as the nose on my face, right? Like, it is super simple. You do not, a business, nobody should be sexualizing children. And the LGBT lobby, the LGBT groups, that is their whole existence is based on sexualization. That's why people had such a legitimate and negative reaction to things like LGBT story or drag queen story time. Why does a drag queen want to read stories to children? Like, the children don't need a drag queen to read stories to them. Why are drag queens demanding access to children? The response from the parents was correct. This is insane.
They look like fairies. I mean, that's your question. They look like weird, crazy beings in this fairy
look like
tale
monsters
stories.
to me.
Yeah.
So, like, you're going to go outside of Target right now, and there's going to be people celebrating. There's going to be, like, a conservative person and like, a blue-haired person. They're both going to be cheering for the demise of Target. It's the first time they've had something in common in a long time.
But it's not blue-haired. Apparently, it's black Americans. It's.
Well, I saw a lot of different, like, progressive people. For a long time, I've been talking about boycotting Target because of their rolling back of DEI policy.
She was painting.
Yeah,
I got this from Kellen. Sorry, it's a
Of
little
course
late.
she was. She had the paint roller.
Wait.
She was
Chrissy Gnomes?
Yeah, she was actually painting.
You know.
Hopefully
Wait,
she didn't kill any
seriously, or
dogs.
was that AI?
Kellen sent
Could
it.
be AI.
Okay, if it's real, then she did this 3 times, and then
Take a photo.
I think it's real. Hold on, I'll send it to Serge. You can
But Target's not a big. It's always suburban white women I've ever seen there. That's what Target is, and that's what it's always been. I don't know if you have any opinions on Target. Do you shop at Target for yourself and your youngins?
It's not my
suburbia?
go-to place. I mean, I go there if I have to, but
I DM'd
typically I
Serge.
shop at like if I need school supplies, we typically pick Walmart first over Target.
They have good decor. You ever go to the decor section?
Of Target?
Yeah. That's the best
No,
thing.
I
about
have
Target.
been in there. They've got the Chip and Joanna Gaines stuff is in the home decor section, right?
I don't know. I think there's a
Target?
big controversy with
I'm
them.
not a
as far
big.
as I
I'm
know.
Yeah, I
not
saw
a big.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, like
don't
it's
know.
I mean, Target's been has had problems. I'm guessing Amazon played a huge role in Target
think so,
losing a lot
too.
of business too, more than anything. Like,
You think it's more than the boycotts and stuff?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I tend to feel like outside of Bud Light, it feels like every boycott falls very, very flat most of the time.
It's real, man.
Oh, really?
Like she did that twice, and then she's like, "Get this thing off me."
And she's
like,
got an extension, bro.
she's like, "Did
ready
you
to
get the
go.
photo? I got the photo."
She is the best. She's my favorite cosplayer.
Yeah.
She is. She is.
She really is.
She wears a skin suit of 10,000 different jobs
I love it. I love her.
in full makeup every time.
Yes. The South Park nailed it for her.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
But the stuff about Target, right? Like they're getting hit from both sides because there was the people that were, in my opinion, legitimately outraged about the LGBT stuff that they were putting up. A lot of the artists that they had designing some of the LGBT stuff for that were for children, right? I don't think the tux stuff was actually the tux swimsuits that they were talking about. I don't think that was actually for children, but they were on sale near the children's stuff. But like the designs, there was some really questionable designs that the artist had done in other contexts as well. And of course, people went and they found it. It was a lot of Satanist stuff and a lot of some really, really things that, like, look, I'm a 50-year-old guy that's like, I'm in a metal band and my background is in some of the most offensive death metal from the 90s, so it doesn't shock me. But when you're dealing with parents that have children at Target and they're buying, they're going to buy stuff, they're going to be selective about what kind of things they want to see their kids on, and it makes sense. Where was that thing you had, Serge?
No, you're right. Because I mean, when you do go into a Target for school supplies, because you get the list, this is back to school time, right? And so, and I don't know when this display was happening, but typically when you walk in the front door, to the left is where the children's section usually is towards the front, and you have to walk past the children's section to get to the school supplies. Usually, at least the stores in North Carolina.
I just feel like, look, post-pandemic, people were kind of programmed out of shopping in stores. Amazon has taken over a huge amount of the marketplace. I just feel like that more than these boycotts, which I bet you if you went on the street tomorrow and you asked a bunch of normies like what they think of Target, they're not going to bring up tucking swimsuits and they're not going to bring up DEI policies. They're going to say, I go to Amazon.
No, well, I tell you, it is true, but I do think like Target's delivery service, like it is every bit as fast and as quality as Amazon. Amazon's easier because of the app, I think. Yeah. But the service from Target is very good. So from the Post Millennial, they were saying at the same time, Target has faced a backlash from the progressives. The Guardian reported in July that many black Americans were boycotting large retailers, including Target and Amazon, while a petition drive earlier in the year gathered more than 250,000 signatures to stop 250,000 signatures from consumers pledging to stop shopping at Target. Look, that's a lot of the boycott against the ending of DEI stuff.
Yes.
Right. So progressives are saying, look, if you're not going to basically, use unfair hiring practices, we're not going to shop at your store. I don't imagine, just because of numbers, right? The number of people that would be shopping at Target, like the number of black Americans that there are in comparison to the number of white and Hispanic and Asian Americans. I don't think that this is actually a compelling boycott. This is probably something that they're going to make a bunch of noise about, but I can't imagine that this actually has an effect on the sales that Target has.
It does better for your internet engagement if you want to talk about this stuff than it does actually affect their bottom line for the most part. At least I would imagine that that's true.
And knowing just black people in general, they are not LGBTQ AI plus friendly.
Yeah.
They are, that is not their cup of tea. So if they're going to boycott Target, it would be more for the tuck friendly, for them walking into the stores. If they go into the stores ever, it says trans people exist. We are here now today.
And it's like, it's a petition. And it's like a change.org petition has changed exactly 0 things in the history of the world. So I don't think people are buying that. I think that the internet becoming a more prominent place to shop has taken more of that.
I think you're right. Well, and isn't the American consumer pulling back a little bit? Haven't there been some discussions around buy now, pay later plans, and also pulling back a little bit on spending? So I wonder if we compared Target in-store sales to Walmart in-store sales and other kind of similar retails, if that's down. And I think you're right. The online shopping, it's a thing. So there's certain things that people are just going to buy online now because they got used to it during the pandemic.
Well, yeah, and like a big part of the selling point for women was like, we go for one thing and I leave with $200 worth of stuff, right? But if they're not going to the store at all anymore because they're staying at home and they're buying their stuff there, I mean, certainly you'll still get the ones that go do that, but just not in the numbers that you were getting before.
Yeah, freaking broads.
Thank you for that, Raymond.
Thought I'd help out.
Yeah. I think we got time for one more. Do we got time for one more story here? I'm not sure that. I don't know. Well, let's dive into it real quick. From the New York Post, ex-Space Force Sergeant Oris Schurer sentenced to 54 years in prison for fatally shooting suspected teen car thief. A former U.S. Space Force sergeant who fired multiple rounds at two suspected carjackers outside his home, killing a 14-year-old, has been sentenced to over half a century in jail. Jeez. Oris Schurer, 29, became emotional as he apologized for murdering 14-year-old Xavier Kirk before he was sentenced to 54 years in prison for the 2023 fatal shooting, the Adams-Broomfield County's District Attorney's Office announced. I'm sorry for the events that occurred that night, for the pain, for the grief and trauma that have followed, and for the impact that my case had on so many lives, a tearful Schurer told Aurora, Colorado courtroom on August 15th. The deadly shooting also left a 13-year-old hospitalized. Schurer, a technical sergeant with the U.S. Space Force based in Aurora, was awakened by a car alarm outside his apartment at 11 p.m., July 5th, 2023. The then 27-year-old grabbed a pistol, ran outside to his Hyundai Elantra where he spotted two people dressed in all black attempting to break into the car. Schurer confronted the individuals, but the would-be carjackers fled in another car. The sergeant gave chase in his car and fired multiple rounds at the teens. The fleeing car crashed into the backyard fence of a home 4 blocks south of Schurer's residence. Kirk and his teen accomplices hopped out of the damaged car and began running away as Schurer continued to fire. Kirk was found suffering from a gunshot wounds to the head and back. He was transported to a local hospital and pronounced dead. The 13-year-old who was driving the getaway car was shot in the back and managed to get to a relative's house before being brought to the hospital and survived. Schurer was arrested after the shooting and charged with first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder. A juror found the discharged Space Force sergeant guilty of the lesser crimes of second-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder on June 16th. During the trial, Schurer claimed the two potential carjackers had shot first and he was acting in self-defense. Investigators found 11 shell casings were fired, all by Schurer, included there was no evidence that either teen was armed during the robbery. Adams County District Court Judge Karen Datz argued the trained military sergeant should have known not to take lethal action. CBS News Colorado reported the former sergeant faced up to 80 years in jail. This was vigilante violence at its worst, and now a young man is dead, said Adams and Broomfield County District Attorney Brian Mason. The defendant took the law into his own hands, chased down a fleeing vehicle, and opened fire on its occupants. A 14-year-old boy will now never grow up because of the defendant's actions. Kirk's family called out Schurer during the hearing, questioning why he shot at unarmed boys. What Mr. Schurer did to my son and his friend to chase them down and execute him over a car that they didn't even take is ludicrous, Kirk's father told the courtroom. Other relatives deflected from the teen's brazen attempted carjacking to focus on Schurer's shooting. You know, kids make mistakes, and so I always teach my kids in my family, like my nephews and nieces, about consequences and repercussions, said another relative. The outlet reported, we're not trying to excuse any wrongdoing of Xavier or wrong they were involved in. The part that's messed up is Oris Schurer's car was never stolen. Look, obviously this guy had done, it was a terrible idea to chase them down. Shooting at them driving down the road is that is begging for a problem. It's begging for innocent people to get hurt. It was terribly dangerous. I'm not sure if 54 years is the right sentence, but look, he killed a kid. So that is true. I will say that I think that if there were more significant consequences to people that were to young kids that were breaking the law, this might not have happened. Because look, there are a lot of kids out there that actually break the law because they say, look, man, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm a kid. I'm a teen. And there are people that are, and not that this is one of those cases. I don't don't think that this is indicative of this, but there are people out there that will have kids go do things because they're young, and because if they get caught, the sentence won't be long, and because if they get caught, it'll be wiped from their record when they turn 18. So it's really using children to violate the law. And it's using them, manipulating them into doing things that they shouldn't be doing, that will only make them more likely to commit crime in the future. Do you guys have a sense that this is something that do you think that he got the sentence he deserved? Or
I mean, I think long prison terms for the kids is going to put them into the criminal industrial complex forever anyways. So I mean, as we know, like once you have a felony on your record, it's very, very hard to get out from under that if you try to go back to being an upstanding member of society. 54 years was for what? It was for second
degree murder.
So for second degree murder, in the one kid died, but the other one didn't.
One kid died, one kid did not. Yes.
That's awful. Like he shouldn't have chased them down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's going to be some people saying along the lines of what you're saying, but once they're off your property, and this isn't something like Castle Doctrine, this is not something that most people are going to be able to find defensible in any way.
I think a lot of folks will like say, "Hey, this white guy shot these kids, so he's getting more prison time." But like you're saying, like we're all thinking, like the dude chased him.
He's
down.
also responsible for his own actions.
Yeah, he chased the freaking kids down the road.
They were stupid. They shouldn't have been doing that.
Sure.
But the second you leave your property and you go after this, you're begging the consequences.
Like, bro,
that are coming
relax.
your way. And anybody that owns firearms will tell you that that's a great responsibility to carry. And if you're going out and doing this, like, what was his sight line? Could he even see what was in front of him? What if his bullet had passed?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know exactly how trained this guy is, but it's not like Space Force.
It said Space Force. I was like, did they steal a spaceship? Is that relevant to this story?
I mean, that's a big deal. Then, and that would be, you know what I mean?
Look, just moving and shooting is difficult, right? If you're walking and shooting and getting accurate hits on a target that's, even if you're only 10 yards, 15 yards away, if you're walking, like, that's not super easy. Like, it's actually fairly difficult to be accurate with a handgun, which is a 3.5, 4-inch barrel, and to be able to hit your target consistently. So driving, it's not the movies. The idea that you're gonna sit there and have a handgun out the window and drive with the other hand and make accurate shots, like, that's just not happening.
I looked up to see if he was drinking. Like, why would you chase these people down the street? I mean, they went to steal. And the family says they didn't steal a car, which is a stupid argument. They were going to steal the car, so don't use that argument, family. But they shouldn't be dead, by the way. But yeah, that's a terrible argument. But why is he chasing these people down the road, shooting at them? I don't get, bro.
It's awful. I mean, he should have called 911.
Yeah.
He could have, if he wanted to, quote, take matters into his own hands, he should have taken photographs, video, whatever. But getting in a car with a weapon and shooting while driving.
Wait, he was in a car? I missed that part.
He was driving.
He was driving after them. So he hopped in his own car and drove. And I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Mm-hmm. Who do you think you are? And again, like the casual. We have a life lost. He's going to spend all this time in jail. We have a family who had to bury their child. Mm-hmm. And so arguably they were doing something wrong, and he, those kids need rehabilitate. The kid that lived, people need to watch out for him and help him along so that he can not have a life of crime. But he could have, the devastation could have been way worse.
Yeah.
He could have hit all kinds of bystanders doing this. And so I think they had to say he's going to spend basically the rest of his life in jail, because you can't have people taking matters into their own hands like that.
And those are what Phil brought up before about if the punishments were more severe for the kids. So they're vastly separate discussions. And just the fact that he went after them is where most people are going to draw their line. You could have a whole discussion about people who get shot when they break into your home, and everybody here and most rational people are going to say, well, you broke into another person's home. What the hell did you expect to happen, right? But the second, and again, this is a nuanced discussion where the second you leave the property, the immediate threat to your own life is gone. It is no longer there, and it becomes a completely different situation in the eyes of the law. So, to me, the discussion about the deterrence, about their, if they were charged at a higher rate or maybe charged as adults, that seems kind of small in comparison to what this guy actually did, which was something vastly different than most people are going to accept.
You mentioned call 911. I do wonder if the fact that police, they don't solve crimes anymore, and I do wonder if police actually put any effort into trying to figure out who does this stuff. It's my sense that, most people don't expect the police to do anything.
Yeah.
Generally, right? Like, if you ask people, what do you think the cops are going to do? They're just like, I'm not going to do anything. And a lot of cops will tell you that, especially the larger the city or the municipality that you're in. If you're dealing with a big town, if this is actually in Boulder, they're not doing anything. The cops will be like, you called and 2 kids tried to steal my car. Did they take your car? No. Why are you calling us? And that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
right?
that's the problem too.
The dismissiveness of the police department. Well, why are you calling us? We're not going to. Your car didn't get taken. The fact that people feel like they're just waiting to be victimized. Now, again, this guy totally, broke the law. He went way, way beyond anything reasonable. But I do think that it's probably because that's kind of the feeling of all we're doing is waiting to be victimized, and the police don't do anything. The police don't prevent crime. They don't try to solve crimes. They don't try to go after the people. And it probably boils down to more the district attorneys and the judicial branch than the actual law enforcement. Because
not prosecuting.
Yeah, not prosecuting, letting kids go, letting people go, because I'm sure he didn't know exactly how old this kid was. He wasn't sure that he was a young person. But they're going to look at this and say, look, the cops don't do anything. That's just the fact of the matter. The cops aren't going to do anything. They're not stopping the crime. They're not picking up kids. The kids that do get picked up, they don't actually, and nothing happens to them because they're just kids or because there are soft on crime DAs. Mm-hmm. I think that's likely what this guy was thinking, and it doesn't make anything better. But do you guys think that there's any policy that can fix this aside from people trying to get better DAs? And if that is the case, how do you get better DAs?
This happened under Joe Biden in 2023, the great unifier. And Joe Biden would have told him to shoot him in the legs. That's probably what he should have done.
That's exactly what
shoot the shotgun in the air. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how this is going to change unless you get proper law enforcement, and that includes, the judicial side.
I know it's super chat time real quick, but yeah, you need consequences, and you need consequences for people's actions.
Well, if how old were they again?
One was 14, one was 13 or something.
Yeah.
15 and 13. So they would have been prosecuted for what?
14, 13, sorry.
If they had been arrested, if he'd called the cops, done everything as he was supposed to be, the cops magically show up in 10 seconds just as they're pulling out of his driveway. They're getting arrested for what? Grand Theft Auto?
No, not even.
It's just auto theft. No, I'm saying if it had gone that way, they stole the car, they're backing out of his driveway, the cops pull up, you're under arrest, they're in jail for what, 2-3 years?
I think they might get let off because they're young.
Because that's what I'm saying. The best thing you can hope for is that they end up in jail for a couple of years rather than just not being prosecuted at all. Yeah. Theoretically, then supposedly they learn the error of their ways while in jail, and that's the best you can hope for because they're minors.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have proper law enforcement, and that includes prosecution and jail, then you're going to have a population that feels like they're not going to be protected by the state, and they'll want to take the law into their own hands. And I mean, there is an argument that to be made that's look, if people do feel like they can defend their own property, and again, not in this context.
Yeah.
This context is it's clear you do chasing people down the street. But if a society says, look, if you try to steal people's stuff, then you're risking some kind of self-defense situation, right? If everyone knows that if you go into someone's house, that, like you said, it's generally thought of. But even that, there are some states where you can't. New Jersey, Massachusetts. I don't know about California, but if you go into someone's home in certain states, you have to retreat, leave the house if you can leave and get out.
And that happens a lot with people when you get your conceal and carry, right? Because they have to talk about it in a lot of states. Like even if you have a justifiable threat against your life, if you get a DA that wants to, they'll prosecute anyways.
Yeah.
People don't feel like they can defend themselves.
Yeah, no matter what happens, you're probably going, if you have to use your handgun or your gun in a self-defense situation, even if it's in your own house, you're probably going to have to get arrested. They're probably going to take that weapon from you. They might take all your guns while the process is ongoing, right? So nobody really wants to use a gun in their house because the government is going to do government things. Now you can defend yourself and be found not guilty of murder, or maybe they'll find that it was justifiable, but you're still going to have to pay a boatload of money, right? Like you're still going to have to pay $250,000 in legal fees and lawyer fees
Reputation.
and stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's not good to have to defend yourself in court ever. It's not good to ever have to defend yourself from a violent attacker, but it is better than ending up dead.
In the context, in that story specifically, that kind of hypothetical has really demoralized a lot of people, where they feel like the criminals are better protected than your average, everyday working class citizen.
Yeah, and I think that this is emblematic of that. Whereas even though he did the wrong thing, broke plenty of laws, and it's probably justified that he goes to jail, that doesn't change the fact that he probably felt like this was justified because the government wasn't going to do anything for him.
And if the AG and everyone keeps going on this path, I think I said this a couple years ago, vigilantes are going to be on the rise.
It was like
it's going to be a thing.
The couple outside of their house with the guns, with the horrible trigger discipline.
Yeah, I mean, one of them wasn't even a real gun.
Wait, what?
I didn't know that part.
One was a fake. It was like a lighter.
No, his AR was real, but her whatever handgun she had wasn't a real gun.
Jeez.
If it was a real gun, it was a disabled gun. Like there was something that like it was a plugged barrel or something.
I didn't know that.
So. All right. I think we're going to go to Super Chats right now. So smash the like button, share the show with all your friends, head on over to rumble.com and become a member there so you can join us for the after show, which is uncensored and we can say things that we're not allowed to say on YouTube. And also head on over to timcast.com and become a member of the Discord so that way you can call in, talk to our guests, talk to the panel. You can also find like-minded individuals. You can meet people in the Discord. There's a bunch of rooms. There's a bunch of podcasts that have gotten started there. There's probably 4 or 5 different podcasts. There's pre-shows, there's after shows, there's late shows that are all Timcast members, and maybe you will meet a significant other. I think we got 3 people that are married that have met in the Discord. So
wow, it's better than dating apps.
It is. It's not a hookup
Very
app.
successful rate.
Yeah, it's not about just hooking up or swiping.
Phil.
No,
Never mind.
No, we're not looking to facilitate hookups, even if Raymond is down Marine. But right now we're going to go to Super Chats. There is one guy that sent us a boatload of Super Chats. Thank you, Eric Shaver. We're not reading them because there's so many of them, but you sent like 6 or something like that, or you sent them on both YouTube and Rumble.
Yeah,
we saw them and we appreciate your...
Was he having trouble? Yesterday on the show, there was all sorts of funny business going on.
No. I think...
Super Chats through.
I think that he just had money that he wanted to part with or something. So
my Venmo. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Reminds me of myself back in 2023.
From Conrad Marcinic. Is that it? Marcinic? Anyways, you can say my name. Why are we not talking about arming and mandating it? That all schools should have proper security. We have the votes. Seems like reps want to moan rather than get the real thing done. Republicans do want to moan. That is generally the truth. I think that the Democrats generally say things like, oh, we don't want guns around our kids and play up the idea that kids are going to be scarred. One of the things that they like to say is things like, oh, look, if kids see guns, they're not going to be able to learn. The part of the way that they got no guns in school zones. And I don't know that it may not have been actually, may not have been successful, but they were trying this argument. They said, look, the government's lawyers said, look, we don't think that people should be allowed to exercise their Second Amendment if you're in a school zone, because if kids are in a school and there are people that have guns around, this will affect their ability to learn. And their ability to learn means that will directly affect interstate commerce. They use the Commerce Clause as justification to prohibit guns from school zones. So now, again, I don't recall if they were successful, but that's what the government likes to do. They like to say, look, the Commerce Clause, that's the thing. And the argument of, kids are so sensitive, and if they see guns, that's an argument they've used before. And that's the argument that Democrats make as to why you don't want armed guards around schools. So let's see. CVA Buck says, I'm a computer engineer at a nuclear plant. It's worse than you think. Big data is building next to rural nuclear plants and poaching employees for significant raises and mortgage level sign-on bonuses.
Oh, wow.
I would like to know more what you're talking about. Hold on one second. He said, big data is building next to rural nuclear plants and poaching. What kind of employees would a big data center be poaching from a nuclear plant? I mean,
maintenance, or
or maybe to build their own small nuclear
that could be
plant to power just the data center, so
Maybe.
they have their own source.
And I'm not talking janitors. I mean, like real maintenance. No offense.
But even just when you said maintenance, I'm thinking like, are you going to give a maintenance person a house, like a bonus?
Yes.
That's
Hey, they
like
got those $80,000 sign-on bonuses for DC police.
$250,000 sign-on bonus. You can buy a house with that.
With the trades going down the ish, bro, I can tell you from firsthand, maintenance is a good paying job if you know what you're doing in the industrial world.
Yo, so
straight up.
So read this one right here. This one right directly underneath that.
Sovereign Fish says, everyone on the show is literally just talking to each other in headphones right now. Headlines right now. They're putting on Dunning-Kruger Clinic. They're laughably off base on the data center power consumption.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm just pointing out, like, yeah, we're asking questions and like trying to learn more about it. We don't know about it. That's the point. Yeah, of course we're off base. Like, we're not experts in that field.
Thank you for the $10.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, my background is data center analysis.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm not sure what he's expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thing is all Americans are going to be impacted if we don't have the right energy policy.
Yep.
So that really is what it comes down to. So if we don't have the right energy policy, we're not going to be an economic power as it relates to technology. That's and if we aren't going to open up our energy policy and we pursue our ambitions around being a technology powerhouse in the world, then small business, hospitals, residential areas could potentially suffer because our power sources can't handle it all. So I think that's the impact that it has.
Hurrah. Boom, Theresa got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying earlier, like power generation is probably the most important thing that the United States, the federal government, should be doing when it comes to infrastructure, because without being able to generate enough power, we're not going to be able to compete against China when it comes to AI, and AI is it's going to be the biggest thing definitely in all of our lives. So let's see here. Shane H. Wilder says, Texas redistricting bill passed 88-52. Texas Dems are already preparing for lawsuits on the basis of race, which will go nowhere since the lawsuit for the 2021 redistricting still hasn't been heard. Look, I mean, if they vote for it, right, if the legislature votes for it, I don't understand how they think that they'd be able to undo it, considering there's no basis for this being a race issue.
Is that why they left in the first place back a couple years ago? I keep bringing it up that Chet was telling me that 50 people left. Was that because of 2021 redistricting?
They were yeah. Well, I don't know if it was redistricting. To be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm looking it up, but yeah, that's he's got a good point. And Shane knows his Texas. So they got to get basically like with the Congress and Trump, he could do all the EOs he wants to do, but if Congress doesn't do it, then the next guy, Gavin Newsom, F his face, will change it.
I identify as tax exempt says, more importantly than the number of people that left California is the wealth that left with them. Money always goes to where it's treated the best. Absolutely. One of the things that conservatives, or one of the arguments conservatives always make when it comes to raising taxes, when people are like, oh, you should tax billionaires, there shouldn't be billionaires, etc., they'll just leave. And the idea that they're not going to leave is ridiculous. If you're going to tell Elon Musk that you're going to tax his business, what you're really telling him is we're going to nationalize your businesses. We're going to take your business from you, right? And he's done nothing wrong other than be successful. Do you think that the federal government is going to be able to run Tesla? Do you think the federal government could run SpaceX? Obviously not. They had NASA.
They'll fail in like 5-10 years, bro. Yeah.
They're not going to be able to run. I don't want them running X. I don't want them. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't really care if they run the Boring Company, because as of right now, I'm not sure the utility of the Boring Company. But look, Elon Musk is way smarter than me, and I'm sure he's got a great plan for the Boring Company. So maybe it's just something I'm not seeing, and I don't want the federal government running the Boring Company either. Then
I want the federal government running PCC.
What?
Yeah, that's valid.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But anyways, Trucker 2019 says, we don't need any more foreign immigrants in our country. We need to kick out the ones we already have here and encourage our own people to have kids, not import them from the third world. I agree. I'm not sure that we need to kick out all foreign immigrants, but definitely illegal immigrants. All of the illegal, the criminal aliens, they all need to go.
Do you check out his emoticon or whatever, the little what do you call that?
Oh, he wants a little more than just kicking him out.
It's like more than that. It's a deep profile picture.
Easy, Tiger. Easy.
Rude.
Can we just kick out the older people and keep the young ones and then put them in the schools for learning for immigrants and or illegals?
Because all the
You want to put them in re-education camps?
Yes. Thank you. That's a great way of saying it. That's very politically correct.
No, they all need to go. Let's see. The Truth A says, in California, the state pays for the school and the instructor to give non-English speakers the answers to the CDL test. Great news. Yet people like me who know how to drive a semi have to pay $10,000 for school and take a legitimate class. Isn't that absolutely disgusting? They will actually provide someone else to take the test for an immigrant that doesn't speak English, but they will charge someone that does speak English $10,000 to actually go through the class, and they have to legitimately pass the
I mean, they need to get money somehow, right?
There's also there's 60 years of propaganda from Hollywood telling you that if you complain about somebody not speaking English in America, you're a bad person. Making you seem uncultured and stupid because somebody is in your country speaking a language you don't speak. And that's kind of burrowed its way into the mainstream average liberal's brain so that they don't look at policies like this having actual consequences for American citizens.
Yeah.
And truckers are based. They are don't listen to what Allah said last night. If you are driving your fruits and vegetables and whatnot to people in cities or whatever around the world, then you're valuable to the world. To the United States of America.
What did Allah say?
He thinks we put truck drivers on a pedestal. We put anyone who helps the American economy on a pedestal. Okay. And they're one of them.
Yeah. All right. Smash the like button. Share the show with all your friends.
For my buddy.
Go to rumble.com and become a member there so you can watch the after show. Head on over to timcast.com. Become a member there so you can join our Discord. Teresa, do you have anything that you want to shout out?
No, it's just been a great conversation being here.
Your book?
Oh, sure.
You have a Twitter account?
I do. Okay. Tracker Payton is my Twitter account.
Talk about your book a little?
Oh, sure. So manipulated inside the cyber war to hijack elections and distort the truth. It's about manipulation campaigns. It's not just about elections. It's all different types of social issues, how AI algorithms, deep fakes, and other things kind of permeate their way around the world and impact how we talk to each other.
That book sounds very interesting, to be honest. But the manipulation campaign around what's going on today, it's very prevalent.
Yeah, it's interesting because, propaganda has been around the world since there were two people walking on Earth, but it's been interesting to see how it evolves at speed and scale. Back in the day, like Russia, for example, used to have to try to embed people in America and see over a long period of time whether or not things worked.
Yeah.
And now anybody, not just Russia, but anybody can post things on social media and see through clicks and likes and mentions whether or not a propaganda campaign is actually working.
Hoorah. Pleasure hanging out. Raymond G. Stanley Jr. Follow me on X, Raymond G. Stanley. Let's go, team. Go Timcast IRL. Go Tim. Go Phil. Go Brett. Go Serge. Go Miss.
Thank you. Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. But what you should do is come hang out with me and Mary. We do Pop Culture Crisis Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We're on YouTube and Rumble. See you there, guys.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check out the band on YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. We will see you all in the after show. And if you don't come to the after show, we will see you all tomorrow.